Good evening, Father.
Why don't you introduce yourself to the congregation a little bit? Tell us who you are and kind of what you're into and stuff, okay?
Okay, sure. As Father said, my name's John Frederick. I'm a senior at Aquinas Academy in Gibsonia. I was born and raised a Catholic, and I am active in the parish here with Soul Youth Ministry, and I've attended their mission trips to Joplin, Missouri, and New Jersey, and I've also helped out with their 8th grade confirmation retreats.
You were just on the last one, weren't you?
Correct.
Yeah. And also, you're in the Passion Drive this year.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Make us believers.
Yeah, he has a Jesus role on that. Which night are you doing Jesus? Do you know?
Friday, April 11th.
Okay. So we were talking this week, knowing that this is going to be a book, when we talked about the readings now, what struck you when you were looking through the readings and just looking over all the different things for this first Sunday? What struck you about it?
Yeah, well, Father, the first thing that struck me was in the first reading, how Adam and Eve, they ate the forbidden fruit, and how they knew that they weren't supposed to eat the fruit. They knew full well that they weren't supposed to eat it, but they ate it anyway, because they thought that they knew better than God and that they could become God. And they thought that they knew how things were and that they could tell God how things were, but that really wasn't the case. And it just reminded me that sometimes we're tempted to think that we know what's going on in our lives and in other people's lives, but it's really God who sees the whole picture, and we can't see the big picture, if you will, no matter how hard we try.
Okay. And then we had a great insight on the perspective of the devil in the gospel reading today, too.
Yes, we did. Okay, so in the gospel, we have Jesus is tempted by the devil, and we were talking about how both Jesus and the devil were quoting scripture. They both had an extreme knowledge of the faith, the Jewish faith, and how the devil, he knew the faith, but he really didn't put it into practice. He could quote things like nobody's business, but he didn't live out the faith, and he chose to reject God and his plan, and he chose pride in that.
That, when you said that the other night, that you told me, the bullet thing you said the night was you chose pride over service.
Right.
And when you said that, it just totally blew me out of the water, because it helped me to see the whole thing a little bit different perspective. It's like, well, yeah, we always said the devil chose pride, but not just service, he didn't choose anything in the service of God. It was all about himself. It's like, yes, he knew the scriptures, but he only used it for himself to get what he wanted.
Exactly.
Not anything of benefit. And so that was just a great insight on your part of that. It's like I've taken it to that point, but never taken it to the next step on that. So that was really amazing. Now, since this is Temptation Sunday, but this is not Confession Sunday, I was wondering if you could share with us any temptations, any temptations you've already overcome in your life.
Yeah, sure.
Some things that could have gone wrong, but with God's grace, have become great.
Yeah, I think one of the main temptations in my life that I've faced so far is my mom's struggle with cancer 2 years ago. Like, she was diagnosed, and I know a lot of people question God and their faith in that time, and and I was tempted to give up on the faith and on God, and I didn't. I was tempted to, but I chose to turn to God, and through God's help and through prayer, I was able to get through that temptation and to stay close to the Lord, because I know that He had a bigger plan for my mom and for my life, and I just don't know what that plan is, and I might not know until I see him hopefully in heaven. But it was a temptation.
Now, when you talked about overcoming with prayer, what all did that prayer involve, and who all did that prayer involve?
Prayer, the rosary. It was daily rosary, got me through it, Blessed Mother. Going to Mass regularly, praying with the parish priests as they came to visit us, and my mom in hospice.
You said that you were praying with your mom,
Yes.
and that you were praying as a family too.
Yes.
So it wasn't just a private you and Jesus
No,
moment.
no.
It was
Yeah.
there were a lot of people involved in that.
Yeah, I mean, I prayed individually, but I did pray in groups.
Yeah, that's just awesome. And then another thing that was I'm always surprised at, instead of giving up, instead of just taking it easy on your summers, you've been going on mission trips. Instead of just sitting home in the air conditioning and watching TV, you're off sweating and working.
Yes, yes.
Why?
All right, yeah, so I mean, during the summer, I signed up for these mission trips, and, you know, doing hard labor in the sun, it isn't fun, and I don't know who would want to do it. But the reason that I wanted to do it was because it was for the Lord. It was for service to the Lord and for His glory, and knowing that I was doing it for Him gave the work purpose, and that was really rewarding.
And when John mentioned that the other night, then I remember very, very clearly that when they came back from the mission trip last summer, and John gave the witness at the 8 o'clock Mass that I was at, and that's what stood out the most out of everything that he said, that he did this because he was called by God to do this. It was not about what others got out of it. If they got something, that was great, but he knew that God had called him to help them. I mean, I've done a lot of work with service through youth ministry, and we have sessions with the kids at the end of the night, and then we ask them how their day went, and it's like, but they didn't say thank you. It's like, okay, but you served them. You did good things for them. You did what God wanted. But they didn't say thank you. It's like, okay. And it's like, when I heard you say that last summer, it's like, dear Lord, you got it. You totally understood. And when he said that again, it was like, I knew that that was why you made an impression with me last summer, and I wanted to have you come back whenever I could to have you share your witness with the congregation, because that's a magnificent moment. You know, to be able to recognize that and to say, this is the motivation. And you kept saying, as you have tonight, the big picture. You know, to know that there's something larger, even though you don't understand it all.
Right.
But there's something so much more. And it's like, wow, that gives me hope. Are there any other mercies and things like that? Merciful acts that you see that God has done for you, any way that you felt His experience?
I think probably the biggest way I've experienced God's mercy is in the sacrament of confession. I used to go as a kid, and you know, like every once in a while with your CCD class or with the family before Christmas or Easter or something like that. But I've been going more regularly, and just really the sense of peace that I get through going to confession, it's just amazing. And I can feel strengthened against the temptations that I face, and I can feel myself slowly overcoming those temptations through the Lord's mercy and His grace. And it's just really, really great.
All right. Well, thank you very much, John. Thank you for being with us this
Father.
evening. Ladies and gentlemen, let's thank John for his witness.